Sunshine, written by Alex Garland, directed by Danny Boyle, starring Cillian Murphy, Chris Evans, Michelle Yeoh, Hiroyuki Sanada, Rose Byrne, Benedict Wong, and Mark Strong. So a lot of talent in this film. It's this cerebral science fiction movie, one of those that I really tend to enjoy. The story takes place in 2057, and apparently the sun is undergoing some sort of chemical process, which means that the star is quickly going out, and once it and then cooling off, and once it finally does go out completely, that's basically the end of life on Earth. 7 years before the events of the film, a spaceship called Icarus was sent over to the sun to deliver a payload, a massive bomb that was designed to basically be thrown into the sun and reignited back again. For reasons unknown, that mission failed. The ship never reached the sun and contact was lost with the crew. Now a successor mission is being sent as a last chance effort called Icarus 2. Massive ship with a really cool design, by the way. It has this huge circular shield in front of it that's supposed to absorb the sun's energy and keep the ship and the crew from burning up as they get closer to the star. And after many months of the journey, the crew finally enters the dead zone, where they can no longer contact Earth. And not long after that, they detect a distress signal from the original Icarus that is apparently still orbiting the sun. After much discussion, the crew decides to adjust the course slightly so that they can intercept the original ship. One, to check what happened and possibly save any surviving crew. Two, to take over the other payload and potentially double the chances of mission success. And of course, as you may expect, as soon as they do make that decision and do change course, problems start to arise. Now, the film starts off very strong. Okay, the whole reigniting the sun thing is debatable, but once you accept that central premise, the whole storyline on the ship is shaping up great. On the one hand, we have tensions between the crew and the psychological effects of being on the journey for so long. And here I have to commend the performances, particularly Chris Evans and Benedict Wong. Evans is great at being this restless ball of nerves that snaps at people routinely and gets into arguments and just ideally wants to focus on the mission itself and be done with it. And Wong's character is a great contrast to that. He at one point massively fucks up, which leads to him blaming himself and essentially plunging into depression, and he sells that quite well. The problems faced by the astronauts are genuinely well thought out, and the conflicts as they arise feel organic and fitting the setting. They don't feel artificial or manufactured. The characters are also, this is the key thing, the characters are also reasonable and make sound decisions. The arguments are typically down to, okay, both options are good or both options are bad. Let's just select the one that makes slightly more sense. And there's a deeper layer to this as well, which has to do with spirituality. Interestingly, Alex Garland has said that he wrote the script with a heavier focus on atheism and rejecting religion on the whole, whereas Danny Boyle has cut a bunch of that stuff out and interpreted the story in a more spiritual way. The end result somehow manages to still hold together in that regard and actually be fairly ambiguous. But there are problems. See, the Sunshine that I just described was on its way to becoming an excellent film. It's intelligent and well put together and well acted, and it takes from the best. There are visible traces of movies like 2001 Space Odyssey, Solaris, but also Event Horizon. The problem is, there comes a point where the movie just puts a stick in its own wheels. In the third act, there's this plot twist reveal that makes you go, really? Did we have to go there? I mean, it makes things more dramatic to be sure, but one, it doesn't make sense whatsoever if you think about it. Two, it feels artificially tacked on, unnecessary. So it suddenly goes downhill as it takes a sharp turn in terms of the whole tone of the film and the atmosphere and the type of story that it wants to be. And then for the final sequence, it just throws all the carefully built logic out the window and ends in such an incredibly dumb way that I was just shaking my head in disbelief. I obviously won't say what exactly happens, but just know that unfortunately Sunshine doesn't maintain its composure of a calm, collected movie until the very end. Which is a damn shame because I really wanted to like it, and I can't say that I do when I look at the whole picture. I'll put it like this. The first two acts of the film are a solid 9 out of 10 for me. But the third final act is more like a 4 out of 10. Just massive, massive difference that doesn't allow me to let it fly and accept the flaws of the film completely. I would say it still barely makes the cut and is worth seeing despite that drop in quality because the majority of it is just so good. But I would be lying if I said I wasn't heavily disappointed by the way that the film ruins itself eventually.